Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Lost Bits right here on TetraBitGaming, the series where we explore noteworthy scrapped, unused, and unseen content in video games. So I recently realized that my past like 6-ish videos have all been Super Mario related, so I think it's definitely time for a change. As such, in this Lost Bits video, we will be diving into one of my first video games that I've ever played, and a series that I've wanted to cover on Lost Bits for a long time. In this video, we will explore the original Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow for the Nintendo Game Boy. Although not the best games in the Pokemon series by today's standards, the lasting effect this game and the anime had on late 90s culture is both remarkable and undeniable.
In my opinion, parents should not let their kids watch Pokemon, play Pokemon, buy Pokemon cards because the message is
This game has a ton of leftover files and data, so unfortunately I won't cover absolutely everything, but mostly just what I thought was interesting. And as always, if at any point you do enjoy the video and would like to support the channel and see more Lost Bits in the future, don't forget to slap a like or comment down below. It seriously helps me out a ton. And with all of that fun stuff out of the way, a world of unused dreams and scrapped adventures with Pokemon awaits, so let's go find some Lost Bits. Alright, to start things off, we'll take a look at some removed sprites in the game. Some of you might already know about this one, as it's pretty famous, but in a few places around Kanto, there exist areas that, although nothing is there, if you press A, you will trigger the dialogue you normally see when interacting with a PC. The most well-known and notable place this happens is at the Celadon Hotel, but it also occurs in 3 out-of-bound areas of the rest houses in the Safari Zone. It is very likely that the player was initially intended to be able to access the PC in these locations, but ultimately the developers decided against it and wanted to remove it, although for whatever reason they ended up removing just the sprite and nothing else, leaving the PCs still completely functional. It seems the developers eventually realized their mistake, as each case of these invisible PCs was eventually patched out in the updated Pokemon Yellow. Next up is a beautiful unused song. Here, have a listen. Now it's clear why this song was left unused. The song only has 2 channels which sound out of sync and 1 channel sounds too high-pitched, so I think it's safe to say that this song was either corrupted or just simply unfinished. Thankfully, a fan took it upon himself to try and restore the song to kind of guess how the song was supposed to sound. Yeah, that's much better. Now moving on to Pokemon Yellow, there is another unused song which is only found in this version of the game. As you can hear, this song is definitely more complete than the last one. It is believed that this song was intended to be used for a scrapped Pokemon encounter type in the game. When loading this encounter type in the game, a battle starts as it normally would, but as soon as you try to do anything but run away from the battle, the message, "Hurry, get away," will appear, leaving you with no choice but to escape. Kinda creepy without any context. Seeing as how the song only appears in Pokemon Yellow, it is speculated that in the game's earlier development stage, instead of just getting a Pikachu from Professor Oak, the player would have to catch their own Pikachu instead. And this encounter in particular would occur if the player has no Pokemon prior to this battle. In the first generation of Pokemon games, there are a total of 3 in-game trade sequences that, although are left over in the game's files, are never actually used. The first unused trade appeared in the original Japanese releases of Pokemon Red and Green, and it involved trading a Butterfree for a Beedrill named Pippin, or Pipin. This was removed for unknown reasons, but the weirdness of this scrap trade doesn't end here. Much like Pokemon Yellow was a buffed up version of Red and Blue in North America, the Japanese Pokemon Blue was the half-successor to Red and Green. In this Pokemon Blue, the same unused trade exists in the game's files, although this time, the Beedrill has been renamed to Chiku Chiku. Then, since the North American Pokemon Red and Blue versions were based off the Japanese Pokemon Blue version, the same unused trade with Chiku Chiku can be found in the North American game files. And finally, to complete the journey of this weird unused trade, the trade also made its way into the game files for Pokemon Yellow, and this time, the Beedrill was appropriately renamed Stinger. Seeing as how they made an effort to actually localize a name for the Beedrill, it is very likely that they were close to including this trade in the game, but for some reason eventually decided not to. In addition to this trade, there are 2 more unused trades found in Pokemon Yellow. One trade involved trading a Pidgeot for another Pidgeot, and the other trading a Mew for another Mew. Wow, what a deal. For both trades in the Japanese games, the obtained Pokemon was named Matsumiya, likely after Toshinobu Matsumiya, who is listed in the game's credits as working on Game Scenario. In the English version of the games, the Pidgeot was renamed Marty, and the Mew was named Bart. Whether these trades were used as placeholder tests or just memes by the localization team, all I know is that Bart is not in the top 10 names that I would give a Mew. Moving along, we have a small bit that was left out from the final games. In the game's files, there exists trainer AI data that would see opponent trainers using items such as X accuracy, dire hit, and X special. No trainer class in the final release of the games uses any of these items, so I'm thinking it was probably removed in order to reduce the game's difficulty in certain areas. Just like the shoulda scrapped this guy from drinking milk in the next generation. Now let's have a look at some of the few unused graphics left out from the game. First up, there are unused walking sprites for each member of the Elite Four. It was likely that the characters were intended to approach you, but in the final versions of the game, they just stand in place. Next is a collection of tile sets in the game's files that were left unused. Lastly is a leftover and unobtainable item found in the Safari Zone entrance. Apparently, similar to the invisible PCs earlier, an out-of-bound nugget item exists which the developers forgot to move or delete. If you use the item finder in this room, it still even detects it. I tried and tried and tried to walk out there myself, but unfortunately every time I did, the game broke. This pretty much happened anywhere I tried to go in the game that I wasn't supposed to, which hindered a lot of the ideas that I had for this video. So if any of you guys know a way that I can do this without the game crashing, let me know and I might make a part 2 in the future with much more exploration. But hey, it looks like I made people turn into birds for some reason. Oh yeah, and there's also that unseen truck, which you may or may not know about near the SSN, which may or may not have a certain secret Pokemon hiding underneath it. Or something. In the original Pokemon game's files, there is an unused entry found between the HM field moves Fly and Surf. This suggests that there was at one point another HM move that was eventually removed. And to further back this up, there is unused text in the game that reads, "Ground rose up somewhere." And this is also conveniently found near the text for when the HM strength is used. And speaking of unused text, there are a few more notable ones found in Pokemon Yellow. These include, "Whoa, don't go anywhere, wait. People who do not have a fee cannot come." And, "Come on, answer the question." There is also some system text that goes unused that states, "Not enough Yellow version memory." Without any real context, it's hard to speculate what cases these might have been used for. Beside the secret of the SSN truck, one of the biggest rumors around Pokemon Red and Blue back in the day was the famous unused glitch Pokemon Missing No. I remember hearing it all, Missing No stealing levels from your other Pokemon to it being a key to unlocking Johto Pokemon in the game. Like many rumors, they turned out to be false. The ever mysterious Missing No literally means missing number. This is because although the original Pokemon games only have 151 existing Pokemon, the game's files contain 190 entries, with each additional entry being filled by the placeholder Missing No. Some people speculate that there were initially supposed to be more than 151 Pokemon in the game, like Gen 2 Pokemon Kingdra and Houndoom, but it was decided to save them for the next games in the series. Now, I don't entirely know all of the technical ins and outs of how to find Missing No or why he exists in the first place in the game's data, but if you want to learn more about it, I highly recommend you check out a segment in Mikey Taylor Gaming's Pokemon Glitches video. There he goes in deep and explains it in all of its glitchy goodness. And I'm probably going to make a Mystery Bit video dedicated to just Missing No at some point in the future, so future me, don't forget to put in a card for that video right about here. Anyways, what's interesting is that some versions of Missing No have a unique sprite, cry, move table, and evolution table associated with it. Additionally, while the first 36 Missing No versions are all the glitchy blocks we remember and don't serve much of a purpose, the last 3 versions are a bit different. They appear in the game as the Kabutops fossil, Aerodactyl fossil, as well as the creepy Cubone's mother ghost seen in the Pokemon Tower. As far as stats go, Missing No in the English versions of the game is displayed as being 10 feet tall and weighing 3,507.2 pounds. That's a pretty big Pokemon for you. Additionally, Missing No is shown to be a bird type, which is a type of Pokemon never actually seen in the game. It is likely that Bird type was eventually replaced by the now used Flying type, but the developers didn't bother removing it from Missing No. Either way, Missing No has gone down in history to be one of gaming's most famous glitches and unused Pokemon. And last up today, we'll explore two well-known trainer fights that went unused in the final game. The first being against a trainer simply called Chief. Although sprite and party data for this trainer doesn't exist, the data for a scientist class is loaded in the game instead. Reference to the character is believed to have been made by a Team Rocket grunt in Celadon City, who says, "Chief, we just shipped 2,000 Pokemon as slot prizes." That being said, it is still debatable whether this grunt is just calling someone else Chief or if he is referring to this unused trainer. Alternatively, seeing as how the name for this trainer in the Japanese version of the game translates to Silph's Chief, this suggests that this trainer could have been Silphco's president and at some point he was intended to be battled. Additional clues to this battle exist in the unused text in the Japanese version of the game, which states, Silph's manager is hiding in the Safari Zone. And the last unused battle is a pretty well-known bit of cut content. Unlike the previous case, a fully programmed battle with Professor Oak is found in the game's files. The Professor's team consists of a level 66 Tauros, a level 67 Executor, a level 68 Arcanine, and a level 70 Gyarados. Professor Oak will also rock a level 69 third evolution of the starter Pokemon that wasn't picked in the beginning by either you or your rival. Seeing as how these are pretty powerful Pokemon at high levels, it is believed that Professor Oak was initially intended to be one of the final battles in the game. Interestingly enough, if you beat Professor Oak in the battle, he will use the defeated text of another trainer class, meaning that he was never actually fully programmed to lose a battle. And that's all the unused, scrapped, and unseen content that I was able to find for this episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, this was a Lost Bit series that I've wanted to start for a while, so I'm glad to finally be making it. Again, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like down below and let me know what your favorite Pokemon Lost Bit was. And if you would like to stay even more up to date with me and my channel, be sure to subscribe here on YouTube as well as follow me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook as well. Links to all of those will be in the description below, and I hope to see you guys there as well. But as always guys, thank you all so much for watching today. Till next time, I will see you in a bit.